Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Uzumaki Clan here today, and today I thought it would be fun if I did my own tier list. Now, if you remember, back in 2021, I did a tier list for Attack on Titan, of me ranking the characters and telling and basically giving you where I would put them in terms of how do I feel about them as characters and how well written I believe they are. I thought it would be fun if I did a tier list because I haven't done one quite a long time. And I know this isn't necessarily the video you wanted. I know you guys the um, want the Chainsaw Man reaction videos, and trust me, they're coming. They're coming. But I just thought it would be fun if I did something a little different for a change. Um, Now, if you guys don't know, this is going to be a tier list of ranking the characters from the series Call of the Night, which is one of my favorite new manga series. Um, well, new in the sense that they've been around for like 5 years or less. Um, I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on each and every character. Well, this isn't every character, but the variety of characters um, from the series and telling you how I feel about each and every one of them. And hopefully, this will be fun and it will be interesting for you guys to see how I would rank them and how I feel about them. I will be sharing you my thoughts on how I feel about them as a character, how I think they contribute to the story, and my overall feelings on them. Um, so I have some tiers right here. S tier being the best of the best, A tier being the real deal, B tier being great, potential slash satisfying. That means that I think that the characters in this bracket will have a significant role in the story that I believe the author is setting up, or I think that they've had a satisfying conclusion to their story. C tier is fun but not important slash they did something. This is basically for the characters who are basically just background characters, the characters that aren't entirely, important for the story. They're there, they're fun when they're around, but they're not like the most important characters in the story, or they don't really add much to the narrative. D tier is irrelevant slash that happened. These are for the characters that basically contribute really nothing to the plot that happened. It may seem like an insult for characters that I may dislike, but please understand, this is just how I would do the rankings of them, sharing you why I believe that they're there. Um, so let's go ahead and start from the top and bottom. I'm not gonna start picking or choosing because I feel like if I did that, we'll be here all day. So let's start with Akiyama. Akiyama is the first character from the looks of it. Now, Akiyama is an interesting one. Um, for all of you guys that aren't aware or may have forgotten, for both the anime watchers and the manga readers, Akiyama is the character that Suri made into into um, into her servant um, in the first season. He was the one who was basically once a stalker, but then all of a sudden we see from her perspective about how she always wanted a friend, and Akiyama choosing to fit that role, and Akiyama coming to terms with himself. He had something to say, and he had an importance uh, for not also for both Suri's character, but also for Kyo's, and I'll get into that when we get into it. But Akiyama, besides that, he had something to say. You know, he did something, but overall, as a character, he's not the most important. I'm going to put him in C. I don't I to be honest with you, he's a character I don't necessarily like or dislike. He's basically a character that I think is just there, and I'm glad when he gets screen time. But besides that, it doesn't really add much to the story. I don't really think I don't think he's going to play a major role either, which is why I'm not going to put him in B. I'm just going to stick him in C. The next character is Akira. Now, Akira, I think, is a very unique character for me. I know Akira is one of my personal favorite characters within the story. I know there are some people who I've talked to about the series that don't like her because they feel like, you know, she's out of place or she hasn't necessarily really done much within the story. But Akira is an interesting character for me, a very likable character. I like what she adds to the story. I think what she adds is both a kind of um, kind of a good companion to both Kyo and kind of a sense of reasoning. I think that she's going to play a massive role within the story at some point before the end. Um, I do like her when she's on screen, and I think that she's relatively a character that I enjoy. When we get the insight on her, I think she did play a pretty good role in the last arc, in the Kaido arc. Um, but overall, I do agree that there has been a bit of stagnation with her character. I do think that we should be getting more of her. I know she hasn't really completely offered much to the story, but I do think that there is great potential there for later on down the line. Okay, next we have Mijiro. Mijiro, for a lot of people, is their favorite character for a reason, and the character that I believe has had the most development. I'm gonna definitely add her in S for the best of the best. She has had so much growth within her character from how she was in both arc one, from the little bit that we got to see from her, and from arc two, especially when she came from an antagonist in that arc all the way into how she is right now in recent times. Midro is definitely one of my favorites and definitely a character that I can talk to about hours on end. She's funny. She's very engaging. She offers a lot of insight, context that is important to the plot, and I think that we're headed into a really good conclusion to our story. It's ongoing still, and there's still so much growth coming from her character that it's really amazing how she was from the beginning to how she is now. So Midro absolutely deserves S tier. Who's this? This is the. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I think I know who this is. Yes, this is the girl from the Maid Cafe. The one who, made Kyo and the others go through all of that, you know, investigation crap and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna put her right here. Uh, definitely, that happened. I'm not gonna get too much into that because let's just pretend that part of the story never happened. Her name is Araza, Ariza, or something. I forget. Who cares? She's irrelevant. Like, no, like let's just move on. Now we get into one of my favorite characters within the series, and the character that I think has had, just like Mijiro, one of the best development, and that is of course my boy Azami, who definitely is going into A tier. I know I call him Azumi, and people telling me, "Oh no, that's not the way how you say his name. His name's Azami or something like that." Let me just tell you how I pronounce my boy, okay? So Azumi, he is definitely a character that has come from a tragic background, Um, his story within Arc 3 of his origins was definitely a heartbreaker. To where he was before, from him being working for a crime boss, and of course his of course what transpired from that, and of course almost the tragic end of his life. Um, and you know, at first we think of him that he's going to be a scumbag, and we're seeing that he's going to be trouble for Kyo and the others, but no, he turns out to be a really good guy. He really funny too, and a complete badass. Um, I really love how his story is going, and I'm excited to see where his story heads next. He is definitely one of my favorite characters, and I would definitely say that he is the real deal. Okay, next on the list we have of course the adoptive son uh, of Haru. Um, I know spoilers. Just keep in mind. I should have put down in the video that there will be spoilers. I'll probably put that. I'll probably put that in the title. But yeah, um, this is This is Hakar. Sorry, Haruka. Yes, Haruka Nanazuka. And of course, I guess we could say the older brother of our girl right here. Um, I'm gonna definitely put him in B tier right here. Um, I know I make jokes about him all the time, especially when he's on screen. There's a joke where I call him not so Bakugo because of the way he looks, the fact that he kind of looks like Bakugo, a little bit. Only his hair's a lot straighter. But yes, I definitely enjoy him as a character. I think he's funny. I really like his design. I really like his antics. I like the fact that he comes off of being a villain, but then later down the line we see that he's pretty much just a goofball. I like what potential he has to the narrative. I really like the development between him and Nazuna. I think that there's definitely going to be a great brother and sister dynamic with them. If you've read the recent chapters, you would see that their sibling relationship is absolutely adorable. It's really cool. How he's pretty much the Oni-chan of this series. Yeah. So yeah, I really like Haruka. Um, we got to see some tragedy within his background, and I think him helping Kyo and him being part of and him being heck, I'm gonna say it, he's part of the lads. He's part of Kyo's group. Like he's part of the lads up there with Azumi and Mijiro and all the others. He's definitely there, and of course, I'll even say that Akira is part of the lads too. So yeah, he's cool. I really like Haruka. Um, Next character is Haru. Uh this is gonna be really difficult. I think she's going to be somewhere around here, but I don't necessarily know where. Uh, she's not really that much of a character. What she is she's more of an idea than she is a overall character. I'm not trying to say she's a plot device, but she's on the to kind of make it out to you what I think she is. She's a lot like Aaron Kruger from Attack on Titan or Thor's, a character who was once alive and kind of died and became like an idealistic sort of character, but she does offer a bit of context to sort of the world building and kind of development for not Nazuna, not really Nazuna, but more so with Kabura. Um, the thing with her, from the fact that she was once friends with Kiku, and the fact that she was the one who put spoiler alert, I know, like I said before, there are going to be spoilers, the one that made Kabura her underling and became a vampire. And they have their sort of kind of cute, kind of hot you're yeah, a Yuri kind of relationship. So, overall as a character, it's really hard because there's so much we don't know, and there have been fan theories out there that she could be alive, and hell, there are theories that she could be the final villain. Ooh. So there's that to put in mind, but until we know more, I'm gonna put her like in high C, only because they did something, she did something. Um, I think that she's probably gonna be the most relevant character in C tier, but besides that, I I can't really put her anywhere higher than that until we know more. I mean, heck, if she does come back and become the villain, she could even be right here, or maybe even here. Okay, let's not okay. No, that's overdoing it. Stop that. Okay. Um the next character, Hatsuka. I'm going to actually put him right here in B, in great potential. Um, the reason for that is because Hatsuka is probably one of the most interesting characters for me personally. Um, I think that there's so much to be desired. I think he's going to play a big role within this arc. Um, you know, I can't I can't really say anything other than he has potential to either play a big role, or there's the author has something planned for him. Now, Hatsuka is a character that, you know, I've been very skeptical on, because I think of what we've seen from him from arc 1, from towards the ending, from really getting to know him, and from what we get from him in the last two chapters that were released, that he can play. I do think he could potentially be an antagonist at some point. There's something about him that's off. Like, it's one of those things where, he plays like the good person, good friend kind of vibe, but you see how he treats his underlings and the way how he is, and there's something fishy about him that I can't help but really suspect. Um, so I'm going to put him right here. I will have to say that he does catch my interest, and he's someone that I have to keep a close eye on. Okay, now we get into some of my favorite characters, starting with Kabura, who is my personal waifu in the list, and definitely a person that I think has high potential within the remainder of the series from what we have so far. Um, I think that Kabura's definitely going to play a big role within the story. I think so far, from what we've seen from her, she's definitely going to be a character that is going to contribute to the plot, and she's going to be a big player going down the line. And I think that what we've gotten from her so far from arc 2 is, from getting to know her, seeing her backstory, her relationship with Haru, even the fact that she is secretly homosexual, I think is very interesting. Um, because you have characters like that in fiction, and it just depends on how you portray them. I think with Cabra, it was definitely very subtle, and it was done well. It's not one of those things where I'm not going to get too into it, but it's one of those things where I think it was handled extremely well. So I'm going to put her right here and be. I really love Cabra. You know, she, like I said before, uh, I'm not gonna lie, she's hot, man. She's a bit of a bitch too. Like, come on, man. Plus, she's a nurse. I'm wanting to go into the medical field. The fact that she's a nurse really is very relatable for me, and I think that she's great. I'm definitely gonna put her right here. Okay, here we go. This is the big one, and I'm gonna try. I'm going to try my hardest, guys, to keep this short and sweet. Kikyu is definitely S tier, and she is definitely, in my opinion, the second best character in this series so far. With Kyo being the first best character. Nazuna, get the fuck in third place, bitch. Oh man, I'm gonna try to be as non-biased as possible, but yeah, Kiku has completely changed the tone of the manga from her appearance to from what we've gotten from her in the series, especially in chapter 100, which is, in my opinion, still one of the best chapters in the series so far, from getting to know who she is as a person and the the major impact that she made from being the antagonist of the series was great. I know so far we have the past antagonist and we have the antagonist from the last arc, and probably the last antagonist that we've met so far. I don't know. Hatsuka's giving me bad vibes, but anyways, um, yeah, Kikyu is just great, man. I have videos planned on her. I love discussing Kikyu to people about the series. I like, um, you know, uh, talking about her in the chapters. I loved reading about her um, from what we had within the series, and I would enjoy making videos on Kikyu and how she greatly impacted the series, because every chapter with her was a complete banger. From her hide and seek game with Kyo, which is one of the best moments in the series, in my opinion. And I gotta say that the author has definitely made a huge impact with the art style within the series, and the artwork was just beautiful in those chapters. And her and her she's just fucking great, man. The way how she tricked Kyo like that when they went to when they went to Haikodo, and the way how she was able to complete her goal at the end while seeing her demise was absolutely brilliant. It was a heartbreaking, send off for me personally, me being such a big fan. But it was done perfectly. I think her narrative was done extremely well. I can talk hours on end about her and how great she is. Absolutely wonderful character. Wonderful antagonist. She reminds me a lot of characters like Makima from Chainsaw Man and Zeke Yeager from not Berserk, Attack on Titan. Um, yeah, man, she's one of my favorite antagonists ever, and one of my favorite, my probably, if not, it's between her and Makima as my favorite new gen antagonists. So yeah, the next character we have on here is uh who trying to remember Ka, Kayosu Ka, Kayasumi. Kayasumi. Yes, yes. Yes. This is the chick that this is the okay. She is the girl who was a customer for Nazuna's uh massage therapy and stuff. She's the one that showed up in that one episode in those early chapters in the first arc. She's the one that is like a business worker or something, and her boss keeps calling her to keep on working later hours and later shifts and stuff like that. Eh, and Kyo promised to make her a vampire if he turned into one. You know, I'm this is this is I'm gonna put her in D. Look, I get where they were going with here. I think the author was trying to set up something, but you know, we have not seen her in like God knows forever, like in the first arc, and you know, there's really nothing to really write home about with her. You know, there are going to be people that would debate whether saying that, oh, she might play a role like at the end of the story. Yeah, but that's at the end, and I can't really. I I'm just gonna put her in irrelevant because realistically, if you took her out of the story, not much would change. Same here with this chick with these two. You know, this is really that happened. You know, nothing would change, no impact to the story, no real anything. Yeah, I'm just gonna put her here. Now we get into our boy Kyo, our protagonist of the story, and definitely the best developed character within the story arc. You know, um, how he started out from being that kind of wimpy kid who, you know, got puked on during those drunk workers from the first chapter to who he to the young man he is right now is absolutely fantastic. Um, these two, I can talk hours on end on how they're parallels to one another. You know, if they weren't with their respective partners, I think these two deserve one another for a couple of reasons. Because Kyo being the one who is, you know, has a good heart, but at the same time, he kind of has a dark side to him. And the thing is, right, and I'll explain this when we get the analysis video, that Kyo potentially could turn out to be just like Kiku, which is why I say they're kind of parallels to each other, because she is the character that Kyo could potentially turn into. It just depends on what's going to happen between him and Nazna going forward, and how, you know, these two end their story arcs depending on how the ending goes. But Kyo, like, he's a good guy, you know, but there is that side of him where you know, it was explained in the last arc when Nazna was speaking to Minaro and was talking about, you know, his sense of morality, and how they were discussing, and this plays back to Akiyama, how Kyo was saying that sure, he Akiyama might deserve to die, but on the other hand, um, this isn't the answer. But Kyo literally said that he may deserve to die, which is something that is very questionable still. I mean, we can understand what Kyo was coming from, but at the same time, that of itself, saying that if a person should die or not, is very, you know, you know. very, very kind of sketchy. So yeah, I can like I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but I'll wait for the video to be made. But man, the way how the last arc was handled, arc 3 was absolutely peak fiction in my opinion. Okay, so next we have Laura. This is the girl from from uh, Nico's classroom. She's the one that wanted to go out with Kyo. She has like a princess complex and everything. She's very tall too. You know, she's a fun character. I really enjoyed her time on screen. In fact, the funny part is in one of those chapters, during the Halloween festival, I thought these two were in cahoots with one another. Like I literally got that impression. I said to myself, "Oh my God, is she a prick?" But no, no, she's a good-hearted girl who kind of like has a weird fixation on a prince kind of idealistic romance, like a fairy tale kind of romance, which is interesting. But overall, I'm definitely going to put her in fun but not important because she doesn't really offer much to the plot. And we haven't seen her since arc 2, so there really isn't much to work with. Okay, this is Midori's underling. I think his name is I don't know if we have his name, but from what I remember, his name is Love Coon or something like that. That's like a nickname. Yeah, he's funny, he's fun, but not really that important. Well, actually, he did something. You know, he did save Midori from getting killed and stuff. Um, he had something to say, so I'm gonna put him right here. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, Minoro. Okay. Now I'm gonna say this, and I've discussed this with other people about his character. I'm just gonna point it out. I do not like Minoru as a person or as a character. Or sorry, I do not like him as a person. His personality, you know, with him, when it came to Kiku, it changed because he's so fixated on one woman to the point where he's kind of lost sense of his morality, and that's interesting and stuff. And the fact is that when we're first introduced to him, we're all like, huh, he's a good guy, he seems like a nice guy, he seems to really care for Kyo, he seems to be a good friend. But then we get later down the lines of how he really changed as a person. And I will say it is kind of sad that his parents don't pay much attention to him. You know, he's angry because after the death of his younger brother, his parents sort of are having a hard time to coming to terms with his death. And it's been going around since he was a small kid, and they're still, you know, scarred from that, which I think is understandable because when you go through that, it's hard. People go through grief really hard, very differently, and it really damages people. I can say that from personal experience, but you know, the fact is that we got to see a little bit of his backstory of how Kiku basically told him as a young boy that it's okay to hate your parents and stuff like that, which is not good advice. It was now, yes, she kind of served as a parent figure and um, as a love partner, but she was shitty at both, and that really showed from Minoru's character and how it affected him. So I'm going to put him in B because I do think that his narrative in the story was satisfying. He had a lot of importance, especially in arc 3. But like I said before, he is not a character that, well, I will have to say he's not a bad written character because he's well written. He's just not one that I personally enjoy. Um, but he did have a satisfying conclusion to his narrative and his part in the story. Okay, so oh yeah, okay, I'm going to okay. I know I said I wasn't gonna pick and choose. I'm a little bit cheating right here, but these two are kind of one of the same. Now, these are, if you don't remember, you're probably wondering who the hell are they? These are the girls that, that kind of cornered Kyo in the first chapter of Call of the Night. Um, they're the ones that kind of called him out because they rejected her friend, um, and they kind of didn't take that very lightly. Um, I'm trying to remember. We got their names. Oh yes, we did get their names because I remember Kyo when he came back to school in Arc 3, which was brilliant chapters. I loved those chapters. Arc 3 is just fantastic, man. Every chapter in Arc 3 was just a banger. And I have to say that I really liked the interaction we got with them from, them being smartasses and Kyo basically uh, saying, "Who the fuck are these hoes?" uh, yeah, I remember this one. This is the one that uh, that Haruka tricked into coming on a date with her, and he tried to suck her blood and stuff. And you have Kyo being a fucking badass, and him whooping their asses and stuff. This is Mich. This is Michiko, Machako, Machako, or something around those lines. She's funny and stuff. She's definitely a bitch, but you know, they're fun. I'm going to put them in C because I think that they don't offer really anything to the story, but they're fun characters. Um, Next we have Midori. Um, She is the owner of the Maid Cafe. She's one of the vampires from Nico's group. She's fun. Um, she's enjoyable when she gets screen time. And she's probably a really nice lady. And but she's kind of not that important. I'm gonna put her in C because when we do get her, when she does have her time to shine, usually it's pretty good. So I'm going to definitely put her in C tier. Next, we have Nazuna, our main girl. The one who's like the poster child for the series. I'm gonna put her right here in S. Nazuna, for a lot of people, is like the one character that everyone talks about. I think that might change once we get season 2 and later seasons within the anime, which is not downplaying her. I love Nazuna. She's hilarious. She's funny. She's great. I love her antics. Um, there's really a lot to really admire from her character. However, I will say that in Arc 3 that she did kind of take a back seat in that particular arc, which is fine because she did still play a role. Her talk with Minoru was probably her biggest highlight within that arc. Um, but in recent times, she hasn't really done much, and I know that's kind of uh, it's kind of downplaying it a bit because here's the thing: Kyo and Mijiro both had have both been getting development. Um, Even in arc 3 they both have had so much development within that arc, and Nazuna kind of didn't really have to have much within it because I think the author was sticking to the point where she doesn't really need to get involved because the conflict was really about Kyo, Kiku, Minhiro, and Kikyu. Those were the characters that were basically, the main focus within that arc. Nazuna didn't really need to have, that much of a role, a major big role within that arc, kind of like how Kyo was in arc 2. Kyo did a lot in arc 2, but he wasn't necessarily like the main focus within that arc. It was both Midro and Nazuna, which was great. But yeah, I'm gonna put her right here into third place. Nico, who is the leader of the vampire group, and definitely is going to second bracket as the real deal. I really like Nico. She's probably my favorite out of the group. It's definitely between her and Kabura. She's great. I love it when she gets her screen time. Um, she's a good teacher. You know, she's very fair. Um, I love it when she gets pissed, because she gets pissed off and it's for good reasoning, because having to deal with these two, oh my god, that would be a major headache. Uh but yeah, man, Nico, she's fun. I really enjoy her time on screen. I think that she's still going to play a big role. She brings great context. She basically breaks down the world building. She's very she's she is very important. She's going to be a big player, and I'm very excited to see where what else she has in store for her, for what the author has in store for her. Okay. Next we have Sakura, and Sakura is a character that is probably the most innocent character within Call of the Night. Um, Definitely with her and Akira. So I'm going to put her in C tier. I know. All of you are basically going to say, "Who the fuck is this chick?" I know. Okay. Uh, for those of you who might have forgotten, this is the girl that Kyo rejected in the first chapter, in the first episode of the anime and manga. Um, she basically, feels bad because she thought that she embarrassed him, and we get to see her again in arc 3, and what we get from her interaction with both Kyo and her was really good. I really loved um what took place within those chapters. Um I really like her personality. I think that she's a very good person, and I definitely do enjoy her as a character. I know. For a character for me to give that much emphasis on, and she's not really that important. In fact, she's not really even in the manga that much. She's only in like 10 pages. And I know you're saying to myself, so you're going to say that she is far more developed than these characters right here. Yes, I am saying that. You know why? Because I like Sakura, and she's a good person, and she seems really cool, and it's my tier list. So kind of so kind of screw off. It's just one of those things where she does get development, and what we do get out of her from that is really good. And here's the thing. Okay, look, listen. I remember her, okay? And if I can remember you, and you've had more development than some of these characters in just 10 fucking pages, then obviously you're going to be I'm going to put you in high regards, okay? So so yeah. Um oh boy. Uh Suri's next, and Suri. No, no. I'm gonna put her right here. Look, okay. Here's the thing, okay? Out of all the characters in that vampire group, no, out of all the characters in like the supporting cast, I will agree. It's for a lot of people, Suri is definitely probably the weakest out of basically most of the supporting cast in the series. And look, I look. Here's the thing with me. Okay, I don't hate her as a character. I don't really necessarily like her either. I'm not a fan of her personality. I know she really hasn't really done much. Um, she had something to say in the first arc, of her coming to turmoil, saying that, oh, I've always wanted a friend. I didn't want to fall in love with someone. I just wanted to have someone, and that's great. Okay, I do like kind of her duo with Akiyama and stuff. However, I do say that Akiyama has shown growth within him as a character. Suri really hasn't grown at all, and I there's really nothing for me to work with here. And people like people who I've had discussions with, people like to take a piss on her, basically say everyone's a major player and she's, the water girl. I've made those jokes. And look, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to say that her character was never meant to really be important. And the author has had a large list of characters, a number of characters to try to work with, and I know that Suri, even towards the end, there's really not going to be much. And her narrative is still ongoing and stuff, and it's really nothing special. Her biggest highlight was either getting her ass whooped by Nazuna or Mijiro shooting her. Oh man, I hate to say that, but it's just how I kind of perceive it. uh yeah, I'm just gonna put her here. Like I said before, I don't hate her as a character, but she's not necessarily a character that I would really necessarily, like or would really talk about if we were to have a discussion, because there's nothing really to talk about. Okay, and now we have the last character, uh, which is one of my favorite characters, uh, Suzuki, who is, of course, one of the new additions to the series. Um, you know, I like her character. I like what we have from her so far, and she's cool, man. She's a badass, like Azumi. She's funny. Um, yeah, B tier. She has great potential. Be a good character. Okay, so that's everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed my commentary. Um, yeah, this was fun. I would like, and if you guys want to do this tier list, I will put it in the link down below so you guys can do your own ranking of how you would rank them. And this has been fun. I'm gonna do more tier lists on here in the near future. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching this. And yeah, this has been fun. Um, let me know in the comment section how you feel about the tier list. If I missed anything about the characters, how you would rank them, any suggestions of, because I'm gonna do this in the future when we get more chapters. Maybe at the end of every arc, I'll do one. But yeah, until then, take care, guys, and I will see you on the flip side. Take care.